Imagine a world before ours. Pangaea, a single sun-scorched continent, mostly desert. This was a time when the continents we know today were fused together, forming a vast, seemingly endless expanse of dry land. The air was hot, the soil parched, and the horizon stretched on with little sign of life. Life clung to the edges, surviving in a harsh, arid landscape. Only the hardiest plants and animals could endure these extreme conditions, eking out an existence wherever a drop of water could be found. But about 234 million years ago, everything changed. The climate began to shift in ways no creature could have predicted, setting the stage for a dramatic transformation. The skies unleashed a deluge that lasted 2 million years. The Carnian Pluvial Event. Torrential rains battered the land, turning dust into mud and rivers into raging torrents. This was no ordinary rain. It was a global climate crisis, transforming deserts into jungles and carving new rivers across the land. The world was reshaped as ecosystems collapsed and new ones sprang to life. The relentless downpour reshaped the supercontinent, flooding basins and creating vast lakes. Entire regions that had been barren for millions of years were suddenly teeming with water and new possibilities. The Carnian Pluvial Event stands as one of Earth's most significant, yet least known, extinction events. It marked a turning point, wiping out countless species and forever altering the course of evolution. It was a crucible that pushed life to its limits, wiping out some groups and opening opportunities for others. In this chaos, new forms of life began to emerge, adapting to the changed world. To understand this ancient apocalypse, we must look deep into Earth's past, before humans, birds, or even the familiar dinosaurs. This was a world ruled by strange creatures, in an era lost to time. The cause wasn't in the sky, but deep within the planet, a volcanic outburst that filled the atmosphere with greenhouse gases. These eruptions unleashed forces that would change the climate on a global scale. This is the story of how fire below led to a world-drowning flood above. The Earth itself became both destroyer and creator, setting the stage for a new chapter in the history of life. And how, in the aftermath, new rulers would rise to claim the Earth. The legacy of the Carnian Pluvial Event lives on, shaping the world we know today. The trigger for this global deluge was the Wrangellian Large Igneous Province, a cataclysmic event that forever altered the course of life on Earth. Today, its remnants lie in what we now know as Western Canada and Alaska, but 230 million years ago, this region was ground zero for one of the most dramatic volcanic episodes in our planet's history. Unlike a single volcano, a large igneous province is a vast eruption from immense fissures, flooding the land with lava for over 1 million years. These eruptions weren't isolated explosions, but relentless waves of molten rock, reshaping the landscape on a continental scale. This eruption dwarfed any modern supervolcano, covering thousands of square miles. The sheer volume of lava released was enough to bury entire mountain ranges, creating new plateaus and altering river systems. As magma surged, it ignited ancient coal seams, releasing staggering amounts of carbon dioxide and methane. These underground fires raged for centuries, pumping greenhouse gases into the sky. The atmosphere was force-fed greenhouse gases, causing rapid, dramatic global warming. Temperatures soared, and the climate system was thrown into chaos. CO2 levels soared, possibly exceeding 1,000 parts per million, more than double today's levels. The air became thick, trapping heat and transforming the planet's climate almost overnight. This wasn't a slow change, it was a violent, sudden shift. Weather patterns became unpredictable and storms battered the land with unprecedented force. The volcanic activity also released sulfur compounds, adding to the environmental assault. These toxic gases created acid rain, further stressing ecosystems already pushed to the brink. The Wrangellian LIP was a 1-2 punch, heat-trapping gases and toxic emissions, a combination that devastated life on land and in the oceans. This geological event set off the Carnian Pluvial Event, a crisis born from fire, manifesting as relentless rain. Torrential downpours transformed arid regions into wetlands, flooding vast areas. The world was about to become both hotter and wetter than ever before. New environments emerged, forcing life to adapt or perish in the face of these extreme changes. The stage was set for a planetary transformation, as ecosystems collapsed and new ones arose from the ashes, and life would never be the same as evolution accelerated in response to a world remade by fire and flood. With the atmosphere supercharged with CO2, Earth's thermostat soared. The greenhouse effect intensified, trapping more heat and raising global temperatures by 3 to 4 degrees Celsius. The interior of Pangaea, far from oceans, became especially hot. Oceans evaporated faster, filling the air with water vapor, a greenhouse gas itself, amplifying the warming. The result, a feedback loop of heat and humidity. Volcanic sulfur emissions reacted in the atmosphere, forming sulfuric acid aerosols. These aerosols briefly reflected sunlight, but their real impact came as acid rain. For 2 million years, the world endured a persistent, corrosive drizzle. Acid rain fell on land and sea, acidifying oceans and altering soils. Marine ecosystems were stressed, terrestrial plants struggled. The sky became an agent of chemical warfare against life. The hothouse conditions and acid rain set the stage for mass extinction. The world was now primed for upheaval. Extreme heat and humidity created a supercharged water cycle. Storms and mega monsoons penetrated deep into Pangaea, flooding deserts that had been dry for eons. Geological evidence shows sudden appearances of rivers, lakes, and coal swamps where only sand once existed. Acidic rain, falling on sparsely vegetated land, caused massive erosion and chemical weathering. Limestone and dolomite dissolved, carving vast cave systems, some still visible today. Sediment and minerals washed into the ocean, altering coastal chemistry. Runoff increased salinity, turbidity, and nutrient loads, shocking marine life. The deluge on land was inseparable from the crisis at sea. The planet's plumbing had been completely rerouted. The consequences would ripple through every ecosystem. The rocks of the Carnian Pluvial Event reveal a world transformed, their layers acting as pages in a storybook of deep time. Each stratum records a chapter of dramatic change, shaped by forces both gradual and sudden. Red desert sandstones give way to dark shales and coal seams, evidence of a sudden shift from arid to humid. This transition marks a profound environmental upheaval, as ancient deserts vanished and lush wetlands took their place. In places like the Dolomites, ancient reefs were buried by mud and sand washed from the land. Torrential rains and flooding rivers carried vast amounts of sediment, smothering coral communities and forever altering the landscape. Fossil footprints tell the story. Before the event, dinosaurs were rare. After, their tracks dominate. These footprints are silent witnesses to a world in transition, as new species began to thrive in the changed environment. Erosion reshaped Pangaea, carving valleys and filling basins with sediment. Rivers cut deep channels while wind and water wore down ancient highlands, creating new habitats for life to explore. Swamps and wetlands spread, burying plant matter that would become future coal. These vast, waterlogged forests locked away carbon, setting the stage for the coal deposits we mine today. Amber from this time signals forests under stress, trees producing resin in response to acid rain and pests. Trapped within sea, ancient insects and plant fragments offer a glimpse into the struggles of prehistoric ecosystems. The landscape became flatter, wetter, and more dynamic. Floodplains expanded, and rivers meandered across the terrain, constantly reshaping the face of the continent. The scars of this transformation are still visible in rocks and fossils today. Each fossil and mineral layer is a testament to the upheaval and renewal that swept across the land. The world's very surface was rewritten by the 2-million-year rain. Torrents of water sculpted new valleys, filled ancient basins, and set the stage for the ecosystems that would follow. And these changes set the stage for new life to flourish. As the climate stabilized, plants and animals adapted, filling the niches left by extinction and disaster. The old order was gone. A new world was emerging, vibrant and full of possibility, shaped by the relentless forces of geological transformation. While land drowned, the oceans faced catastrophe. The Carnian Pluvial Event wiped out about 30% of marine species. Acid rain and runoff lowered ocean pH, making life hard for shell builders like corals and ammonoids. Nutrient-rich runoff triggered massive algal blooms. which upon dying consumed oxygen and created dead zones. Anoxic, acidic waters devastated marine ecosystems. Ancient groups like conodonts and many ammonoids vanished. Coral and sponge reefs collapsed, shaking the marine food web. Yet, some plankton, like dinoflagellates, thrived in the new conditions. When stability returned, new reef builders, scleractinian corals, emerged, ancestors of today's reefs. The extinction reset the oceans, clearing the way for modern marine life. The seas were reinvented in the wake of disaster. Life adapted, evolved, and began anew. The ocean's crisis was also its rebirth. The land, too, was swept by extinction. Before the rains, Pangaea was ruled by synapsids and Rauisuchians, adapted to dry conditions. The sudden shift to a humid monsoonal world was a death sentence for many. Old plant communities vanished, replaced by ferns and conifers. Herbivores lost their food. Predators lost their prey. Dominant groups dwindled, leaving ecological vacancies. Into this vacuum stepped smaller, more adaptable creatures. Among them, the first dinosaurs, bipedal, fast, and suited to the new wet world. The Carnian Pluvial Event didn't create dinosaurs, but it gave them their chance. The stage was set for a new dynasty. Before the Carnian Pluvial Event, dinosaurs were minor players, living in isolated humid pockets. Their upright posture and efficient breathing gave them an edge as the world turned wet. As rainforests and swamps spread, dinosaurs found their ideal habitat everywhere. With old competitors gone, they rapidly diversified and expanded. Fossil footprints show their sudden dominance after the event. This was the true dawn of the age of dinosaurs. They radiated into new forms: herbivores, carnivores, giants. The 2-million-year reign had cleared the stage for their rise. The world now belonged to the dinosaurs. Their reign would last for nearly 180 million years. Eventually, the eruption ceased, and greenhouse gas emissions slowed. The 2-million-year rainstorm faded, and Earth began to heal. Lush vegetation spread, drawing down atmospheric carbon through photosynthesis. Vast wetlands buried plant matter, forming future coal seams. The very crisis that caused the rain helped create the conditions for recovery. Oceans stabilized, new coral reefs began to grow. On land, dinosaurs became the undisputed rulers. The world that emerged was fundamentally different, greener, wetter, and teeming with new life. The Carnian Pluvial Event was both an ending and a beginning. From catastrophe, a new era was born.